It's the sixth and final week of my Octoberfest challenge, and I got 3 beers from the northeast of the United States. What's up guys, Sargent Suds here with part 6 of my Octoberfest challenge. If you haven't seen the other ones, I have a card up here, I have links down below. Make sure you go check them out. This started as an effort to try a bunch of the Octoberfest brews I could pick up in my local store. Granted, there's a little bit of a slant to this. I am based in San Antonio, so it has to be something I can find here to be considered. Sixth and final week, we are focusing on, I guess, nationwide brands, all from up in the Northeast. I have Victory, I believe, is based in Pennsylvania. I have Brooklyn, obviously in New York, and Sam Adams in Boston. So it'll be interesting to see. A lot to this point of the beers that we've looked at have been Texas-based. Did one a couple weeks back. There was exclusively German beers as well. So as I said, links are below if you're interested in checking those out. Okay, so let's go ahead. I guess we'll do the Brooklyn first. So Brooklyn Brewery. I mean, I'm assuming if you're watching this, you're probably up on all 3 of these brands. I mean, they're not really difficult to find anywhere in America that I'm aware of. Obviously, Brooklyn Brewery, based in Brooklyn, New York. I only had a couple beers of theirs in the past. Some have been better than others. It'll be interesting to see what take they have on the Oktoberfest brew. So, seeing a nice dark color, fairly heavily carbonated there. Put up a nice solid head that looks like it's going to lace. It is holding its shape. And it definitely smells like a Marzen beer. So I'm not expecting anything too crazy here. I suppose let's see how it goes. It's not bad. It's very malt forward. Lots of toasted malts. It's got a little bit of a deeper, or I should try to say a thicker mouthfeel than, say, a typical lager style beer, but again, it's still very light and crisp. There isn't much hoppiness to there. There's a little bit of bitterness, but again, you're basically dealing with malt forward, toasted malt, typical kind of Marzen style beer. Not a bad beer. It'll be interesting to see how it stacks up against the other 2. Okay. Next, we'll do the Sam Adams. So Sam Adams, a lot more experience with them than Brooklyn. Obviously based out of Boston, Massachusetts. One of the, I would say, better known craft breweries here in the US, to the point where there's a lot of people even debating whether they should be still considered a craft brewery based on their sheer size and stuff like that. Interesting, they changed their labels, I want to say, a couple of years ago maybe. It used to be more of a cartoony image of Sam Adams, who I believe was one of the founding fathers. I know John was, and I believe they were cousins. But Sam, definitely a brewer of the time. So they keep his name living through the brew. Let's see. So again, pretty typical color of a Marzen. Very highly carbonated, just bubbling away under the surface there. Built a pretty reasonable head that's holding again. This one doesn't have nearly as strong of a smell about it. The other one, the Oktoberfest from Brooklyn, was fairly malt forward in the smell as well. So I guess we'll see how this one goes. So it's a lot lighter of a taste. A lot thinner, more lagery than Marzen-y, which was interesting to me because I found a lot of American ones, the American craft brew Oktoberfest, to be fairly thick, very deep toasted flavors. But then when I had the German brews last week, I believe it was a lot lighter. So this is realistically is a lot closer to the Weinstefana and the Hack-Up-Shaw and that sort of stuff. Pretty good brew. I'd say this is currently leading of the 2 that I've tried thus far, but there is one left in the running, and that is the Victory Fest beer. Now again, based out of, I'm pretty sure, Pennsylvania. Haven't tried a whole lot of their beer. Their Premium Pils is pretty good. I know that's one of their sort of more ubiquitous brands. I must say though, I do quite like the art on the bottle here. Some of them throughout this competition have been better than others, and I think this is one of the better ones. And it looks like it might be a little lighter color than the other two, although again, as the glass fills up, it gets a bit deeper. So you can see maybe slightly lighter than the past two. Nowhere near as highly carbonated, but still relatively carbonated. The head has pretty much disappeared already, which is a little different. The other two are still more or less holding the head, and they've been out of the bottle now for a couple minutes. Again, it doesn't really have a scent at all about it. I'm expecting, it looks like it's going to be very crisp and light. I suppose we'll see. Not quite. Not tasting much hops at all. What I am tasting is a really strong flavor profile of the toasted hops the toasted malts you would get from a Marzen style beer. This one is one of the stronger flavors in that regard, being very malt forward, but at the same time it has a really, really light, crisp body, so it's a little interesting. I would have expected it to have a thicker, deeper mouthfeel to be that way. If we're talking about the way that these are ranked, honestly, just because I'm not as huge on a super malt forward beer, probably go with the Victory in third place. Second place, we're going to go with the Brooklyn, which puts the first place for this week in the hands of Sam Adams out of Boston, Massachusetts. So there you go, guys. This is the last week, as I said, of my Octoberfest challenge. So the content will be switching up a little bit in the coming weeks. If you've enjoyed this, please do me a favor, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. As I said, have 5 other Oktoberfest beers if you're interested in some of the other ones. I know that Oktoberfest itself has finished in Germany now, but Oktoberfest season here in the States is still going on for a little bit. So if you're looking for any recommendations as to what you should get, feel free to check those out. New stuff coming out pretty soon, and until then, I look forward to seeing you back. Cheers!